Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars in the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploding like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Ken and Ken in the Morning. Good morning, Fred. And Fred, just getting right back into yesterday's topic. You got to love it. He says that he has the answer for the halftime show, Prestige Worldwide, which I have no idea what he's talking about. Do you, Ken?
Are you? It's the fucking fake music group from Step Brothers.
Oh.
What, you don't like no boats and hoes?
Well, you know, a conversation with someone else this morning. They could have Taylor Swift, who's now is being attacked by the left because she wrote a song about she loves her fiance and wants to have kids that look like him. So now she's a trad white supremacist. Like, okay, interesting. The left eating their own on this one with Taylor Swift. So, I mean, we could have Taylor now. She'd piss off enough people. Well, I honestly, the halftime show, I know we talked about some yesterday, but dude, I saw Turning Point's going to have theirs, and they got Kid Rock and some other, artists. And the problem with that one is you can watch on X, you can watch it on Rumble, which you can watch us on Rumble too, by the way. But it's like not easy. You know what I'm saying? It's got, there's some streaming services on too, but unless you pay for those streaming services, so the alternative halftime show is not going to be easy to get. You know what they need to do? Like, remember when Fox did In Living Color, and they had their halftime show? That's basically what kicked off the modern halftime shows In Living Color. Oops. Well, hello. But someone needs to, or remember you used to have, what was the one that was a Puppy Bowl or whatever it was that people could watch? Like, give me an alternative somewhere that's easy to watch. Because, like, dude, none of us want to watch Bad Bunny.
I was going to say, or you can just fucking turn it off and go to the bathroom and that's it.
My wife's Puerto Rican and she's like, I don't even want to watch Bad Bunny. He's trash. Okay. So, yeah,
I couldn't say either way because I've never listened to any of his music. So I'm not going to say the guy's garbage, but I'm not excited about it in any way and have no interest.
He's nothing special, put it that way. He's just another, manufactured person in the music industry, put it that way. Yeah.
Guys, so the bands that we were talking about as like the halftime shows and stuff, I just found out they're going to be performing at Bottle Rock in Napa in May. Foo Fighters.
Oh, nice.
I think I might actually go check them out, dude, because I've always wanted to see Foo Fighters live, actually.
Yeah, we're doing. I don't get too many concerts here. I get some. We get a couple here every so often. I mean, we get some in Pensacola, actually. We don't get, like, Metallica's not coming here, but we get some decent size shows here. I just haven't really gone. I don't know. My wife went to one of her Christian rock concerts with her dad when he was here not long ago at the center. But yeah, I haven't gone to a live show. The last live show I went to, as a matter of fact, was Metallica in 2019. I went and saw Metallica, and had the Metallica beer, which is actually pretty good. So hey, you guys, if you're watching, send me some Metallica beer. You can't buy it in the store. But that was pretty cool. Hey, there is some football news though. Matt Nagy did get a job as the OC of the New York Football Giants. That happened. There are a couple OCs and DCs got hired. A couple Bears at the Pro Bowl are making plays to get re-signed. So the normal stuff. Good morning, Brent. Nothing major, but I don't know if you guys saw the video. I think I posted one of the back chats with the Bill Belichick one.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you know what? Let me pull that up and then I'll share it.
Well, while you're doing that, I want to mention about Goodell had an interview where he was talking about the halftime show and all that. That's whatever. The part that really got to me was he praised the officiating this year, said that it was, or that they did an outstanding or remarkable job, something to that effect. Like, I can understand not wanting to criticize them and all that, but to go and actively praise them after the past few seasons we've had of egregious calls, I think that's just fucking nonsense.
Yeah. Well, let me get there was some other NFL news. Yeah, Robert Kraft. Let me share this video real quick. You guys are this guy, his delivery is just spot on. Yeah, this is what I want to share. Okay. Let me make sure that we're okay. Here we go. You got check this one out. This one's funny.
So if a coach with 222 wins is in the Hall of Fame, then a coach with 333 would be in the Hall of Fame? No. Why would you think? Just because you're second all-time in wins doesn't mean you're Hall of Fame worthy. But if a coach with 10 playoff wins is in the Hall of Fame, then a coach with 31 playoff wins would be in the Hall of Fame? No. What would you think? Just because he has the most playoff wins of all time doesn't mean he's Hall of Fame worthy. Let's take a step back. So if a coach with 2 Super Bowl appearances is in the Hall of Fame, then a coach with 9 Super Bowl appearances would definitely be in the Hall of Fame? No. What would you think? He would not be in the Hall of Fame. So just because you've been to 9 Super Bowls doesn't mean you're Hall of Fame worthy. But if he won the most Super Bowls of all time, then he would have to be in the Hall of Fame. No. Just because you have the most Super Bowl wins doesn't mean you're Hall of Fame worthy. But if all of these accomplishments were done by one coach, then that coach would obviously be in the Hall of Fame. No. What would you think? It's because that coach is Bill Belichick, and the members of the Hall of Fame committee said it's because that's why. So if a
Yeah, Fred. I mean, you sent us the video, and I actually had seen it before you sent it. But you sending it gave me easy access to do what I did today. I mean, that is just like that guy. No, I love the way he did that. That was just freaking phenomenal. As if the NFL didn't have enough problems, right? And bench warmer, everyone's clowning the NFL over this Bill Belichick thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that guy's performance was like, no. I was dead, man.
I feel so bad for your wife because I can only imagine from now on, anytime you answer no, it's going to be no.
Not like that. No. Just because you're the best in the world at something doesn't mean you're the best.
He's like, yeah, honey, you would think that I would do that, but no.
You would think I'd want to watch the entire Super Bowl, but no.
Oh, man. I was thinking about just now, Ken was talking about how Goodell praised the officiating. And to me, it's hilarious. Like, because Ken is like upset that Goodell praised the officiating, but I'm like, dude, the bad calls, those are a feature, not a bug. Bro.
No.
So in the context of like, do you really think they want the officiating to get better? Because the officiating is how they get the teams they want in the Super Bowl. Like, it's how they get the Kansas City Chiefs across the finish line every year. Like,
I have a feeling between the Bad Bunny halftime show and the fact that it's basically Boston versus Seattle, this is going to be a very low rating Super Bowl this year compared to some other years because no one gives a shit about Seattle. No one gives a shit about New England. And then you add Bad Bunny in the mix. It's like, great.
Apparently, you have a fan now too, Ken.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Andrew.
I think the game is actually interesting. I think it could draw some viewership just because the game. I think people will probably turn off the halftime show.
I think this game is two teams that, for the most part, most of the country can give two shits about. Like Minnesota fans just won't want to watch it just because Sam Darnold's in it, and like, out of spite. No one wants to watch New England. It's like wants to be watching Kansas City again. Big deal. Who cares? I mean, honestly, it's not that compelling. I mean, look at from a football standpoint, for the three of us who do
I was going to say, it seems like it should be a great defensive battle.
Like we're looking at different, but you look at the average fan, the average Joe on the street who watches football on Sundays with the boys as they drink beer at the local bar and don't really give a shit about the rest of the crap. They're looking at this game and I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's a matchup that you're like clamoring for either. Like it's like okay, Kansas, it's Seattle and New England. Okay, and like, just the markets themselves, just it's. I have a feeling when the ratings come out, this will be one of the lower rated games in recent, last.
I have a feeling when the ratings come out that no matter what the actual ratings are, it'll break ratings records.
No, because it's not that big.
No. What I'm saying is they're going to artificially inflate the numbers.
Oh yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, the bots on the I mean, yeah.
This was the most secure election in history.
Joe with the quick one-liner. I mean, I don't know if they're far enough removed from the dynasty yet, Fred. But I mean, look at that. That's the one story I think, though. Like for NFL fans, like the Drake May ascension is a story that might get people to watch. And look, you got two young coaches, Vrabel first year with the team out there in New England. I mean, that second year for the coach in Seattle. I mean, that's excuse me. Look, even talking about the game makes me tired. I mean, it's just not like a huge compelling game. I mean, look at this Super Bowl has a lot of issues going on for it. So hopefully we get a good game. Hopefully, it's not ruined by all the politicalness that the NFL is injecting into the Super Bowl, which is just stupid. It's supposed to be the crown jewel of your sport, not a Billie Eilish Grammy, speech. I mean, come on. Like, can we be smarter about it? I still think, like, musically, they for the halftime show, they could do much better than what they're doing. But that's not the NFL. That's Roger Goodell trying to be politics. I mean, whatever. And then, this week we've gotten no player news at all. Well, I guess we'll find out the Hall of Fame. I haven't seen any leaks for the Hall of Fame yet. Have you?
The only thing I've seen so far is what Fred already said, was that Robert Kraft's not getting in. Besides that, I haven't heard much of shit.
Robert Kraft wasn't even up, though, to be in, was he?
I think he was.
Yeah, he was in the contributors section.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching / contributor. But, yeah. I'm curious to know, because we haven't really discussed it since the news kind of broke, but I'm curious to know what you guys think about Clint Kubiak going to the Raiders.
Could be interesting. Clint Kubiak, like, I know Seattle's offense there is real good and all that, but besides that, he doesn't stick out in my mind, type of thing, to where it's not to where, oh, you know, when I think about this guy, I think about all these different offenses he's been a part of. I'm drawing a blank past Seattle.
Kubiak's been around for a hot minute, though, man. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this as for the Raiders. Is this a step in the right direction? I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, he's a solid coach, right? He is a solid coach. You know that, but is he going to be the guy for the Raiders that the Raiders need right now? I don't know, man. I mean, it's an interesting hire. I mean, look, the cool thing is, if you're a Raiders fan, you've got a head coach now. He's got some success in the league. He doesn't have all the hype of Ben Johnson, so the expectations shouldn't be ridiculous. They're going to be tempered. It's not like you expect the Raiders to do what the Bears did this year, but you do expect a step forward. But I think it depends on some of who he puts around him too. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's his DC going to be? I think, is it better than Pete Carroll? Yeah, I mean, I think Pete Carroll was just a swan song for Pete Carroll. I like Pete Carroll; he's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great coach in NFL history. But he just, like, this Raiders move was just a bad move for him. He should never have done it. Kubiak, I mean, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic for the Raiders. I think he might be the right guy. I mean, every year you get the kind of he's kind of like the OC this year because of where he's at, right? With going to the Super Bowl. I mean, so that's kind of like a traditionally, one of those guys that gets a gig. And this year it's Kubiak, and
one could also argue that he was in that the top of the coaching candidate cycle, like that him, Harbaugh, there was a couple of guys, but like one could argue that Kubiak was one of the most highly sought after guys in the cycle. So for just purely, I'm not saying that to say that, oh, he's going to be a fantastic coach, because I don't know if he's going to be a good head coach.
No, but that's a good argument.
But I am saying that what I am saying though is that when was the last time you saw the Raiders get one of the guys that was one of the top candidates in the coaching cycle, right?
Well, but Joe, though, you could also argue he was one of the top guys to a lot of other really good guys came out into the list. And the fact that the Raiders, were the last team to get a head coach, and then everyone else went with someone not named Kubiak of the 10 or 11 teams, whatever it is, tempers that. I mean, you're not wrong. I think before Harbaugh and some of these other guys came out as being available, he was. I mean, look, and there are some guys who mismanaged. Cliff Kingsbury thought he was going to get a job. Matt Nagy thought he was going to get a job as head coach. Neither of those guys did, right? As we saw by Nagy just signing, to be an OC in New York. So I agree with the argument. At the same time, there were a lot of other guys who went before him, where guys were like, "Well, you're good, but we're not willing to wait."
That's
so
true.
I mean, look, that's what I'm saying. That's a good thing for the Raiders, though, because like I think you guys are getting a solid coach. We know Clint Kubiak's been around the league for a minute. We know he's a good coach. But now you don't have the expectations of what, say, the Bears did with Ben Johnson. You know what I mean? The expectations aren't we're gonna double our win total next year.
But the Bears are in year 2. We're in year 1. Like, they're in year 1 of Ben Johnson, but they're in year 2 of Caleb, right? Or now going into year 3.
You're in one, you're in year 1, and of course your talent level overall
is not as good. So,
right. But I mean, that's a good thing for the Raiders. Like, do I think the Raiders will become more competitive now? Yes, I think offensively they will. But they still got to get some pieces. But yeah, I mean, it's a good hire. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a bad hire. It's a good hire. I just think it's like, if you're a Raiders fan though, because you know what it's going to be like, Joe. There are going to be some Raiders fans out there who are going to expect, oh, it's going to be a 11-win season now. Like, no, man, you're still like a 6 or 7 win team, maybe 9. But you have upside now that you didn't have coming in at the end of last year. You've got some upside. You're going to have the number 1 pick in the draft so you're taking your quarterback, and you've got an offensive-minded head coach who can build that quarterback, and you've got, a gold jacket, according to Joe, tight end, because they will reference you to the fan base for that. And you've got, Max Crosby is still there unless they trade him for a haul of draft picks, which might not be the dumbest thing ever. It could actually be a smart move, depending on what they're getting in the draft for it. So I mean, yeah, I mean, there's reason to be hopeful. I mean, look, you guys need an offensive line, you need a wide receiver, you've got a good running back. You hope and Genty that this year was kind of like, here's some things to come the next 2 or 3 years with him.
Mhm.
Defensively, you've got a couple pieces, but you got some pieces you can deal to help rebuild this team. So, like, I think you're in a rebuild for sure,
Mhm.
but it's not a complete hatchet job because you've got a tight end, you've got a running back, you've got some skill pieces already.
Mhm.
Um,
And we're
so I
about
mean,
to add the most important skill piece, a quarterback,
well, yeah,
which the Raiders have not had for a while. But you know, there's a mixture of expectations in Raider Nation. Like there's some fans who, like you're talking about, are saying, "Oh, with Mendoza and Kubiak, we should get 10 wins this year."
yeah.
And those guys, there's no helping those guys.
Well, I
Like
mean, the
I
Uber,
understand the eternal optimism, but it's like
well, it's like the
you have
Packer
more
fans.
realistic fans who are like, if we get 6 wins with Mendoza this season, that's a win. That's a step
It, it,
forward.
it's like the Packer fans that are like Notre Dame. Every year, their Notre Dame member was the top 3 in the API poll before the season. Packer fans every year, we're winning the division. So you got fans who are like that, even though the situation doesn't, show that. Not that the Packer fans can't make that argument for next year. Sure, they can make an argument that they're going to be contending for the NFC North title, but I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some Packer fans, no matter what happens, oh, we're winning the division this year just because. Like, okay, and every fan base has that, and that's good though. You need those guys. You need those guys. I think like, and look at the division you're in right now is tough. You got Denver's really
Mhm.
good. You've got Kansas City is on the decline, but they're still a good football club. The Chargers are kind of like they're on the come up. They
And
had good
you know what's funny is like the NFL scheduling is supposed to go. If you finished in the basement in your division, you're supposed to play the basement teams of other divisions, right? But somehow the Raiders finished the worst overall in the league, but still got one of the hardest schedules in the league.
Well, you know what though? Yeah, but look at it.
The
This is why
Raiders
I hate
play every playoff team from this year. The Raiders play them next year.
they play the Bears next year.
Maybe not Chicago, but I think they play the whole NFC East. They
Okay.
play or it's either the NFC East or the NFC
Yeah, I
West.
mean,
I think it's
the
the
only
West.
difference in your schedule between the rest of the West is, let's say you guys are playing the AFC East, then you get the last place AFC North, AFC South. That's the only difference in your schedule. And then you got the extra game. It should be a last place team from the other conference or whatnot. But I mean, so maybe a 2 or 3 game difference. That's why I hate the strength of schedule argument, because to me it's complete crap. It's like, first off, the parity in this league is such that there aren't really that many just horrendous teams where that's a distinct advantage to play them. But secondly, you're talking maybe a 2 or 3 game difference. And in some cases, you're playing a last place. Like, if you're playing the last place team in the NFC North, that's the Detroit Lions. And they won 9 games last year. So I mean, I mean, even Arizona being the last place team in the AFC West was a hard out for a lot of really good football teams last year. So I
That's what I'm
mean,
saying. So
yeah.
can you do me a favor? Pull up the Raiders schedule this year and just take a look at it. I'm telling you, for the number one overall pick team, it's brutal, dude. It's brutal. And it's brutal every year. The Raiders always get this, dude. Like Al Davis has been dead for 15 years and we're still getting it. Like, let the man rest. Like
Yeah, that can't be right. Somehow they got the entire game schedule, but that's not right. Yeah. Here, I'll just go to Raiders.com and go to a trustworthy site. That, whatever the hell that was. So the Raiders got, at home, they get their division. Then they get the Bills. They get the Rape Cave, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Titans. On the road, they get the division, plus New England, plus the Jets. Well, there's an easy game. Then they get Arizona, San Francisco, and then they get Cleveland and NOLA. Not an easy schedule.
And they were the number 1 overall pick team. You see what I'm saying? Like how?
Yep.
Explain that one to me, dude.
Ooh, you know what? That NOLA game, you could end up in Paris, dude.
I wouldn't want to travel.
Well, it doesn't matter if you want to travel.
Yeah.
You guys have the extra away game. NOLA is already pretty much almost a lock. You people are saying for the Paris game, you could get that game. Now, look at conversely, the Bears. A lot of people are saying the Bears are a lock to go to Madrid, and a lot of people are thinking the Bears are going to play the Dolphins in Spain this year. And it's been a minute since the Bears. Well, I mean, the Bears 2 years ago played Jacksonville, London. So I don't know if it's their turn, so to speak. But with dude, look at you've got with more and more overseas games. Obviously, you've got more of a chance. I mean, we're almost at a point where you're getting 8 games a year overseas, which is like half the league is going to play overseas every
year. Yeah. Did you hear that schedule, kid?
No.
So here's what the Raiders have. At home, they got the division plus Buffalo, Miami, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Titans. Their away is the division plus the Pats, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Niners, the Browns, and the Saints.
Wow. So we're going to watch the Raiders get gaped next year. I don't know how else to phrase that. That does not sound like a great time for a first-time head coach. Shit. Conversely, if he does do well with that schedule, you got a real one.
Dude, to me, if he can pull 6 wins out of that schedule, that's a win.
That's a fucking, at least as of right now, that schedule sounds brutal as fuck. Yeah.
Okay, so they're playing 9. The NFL is going to play 9 international games this year, this upcoming. So it's 18 teams that have to play internationally on a 32-team league. So, yeah. So you're going to get, they actually already announced some of it. So the Rams are going to be the home team. And oh my God, it makes sense. Travel distance, they're probably one of the shorter ones if you can consider that. The Rams are going to be the home team in Melbourne, Australia. By the way, Green Bay has a road game against the Rams in 26. They might end up going to Melbourne. The Saints and the Cleveland Browns are supposedly going to be the Paris matchup. Wembley, you've got the Jaguars are hosting a game like they always do. And then there's the Tottenham Hotspur game, which I'm not sure. And then you got Madrid, Mexico City, Munich, and Rio de Janeiro. Yeah. So for Brazil, they haven't announced it yet. Germany, Germany. I'm telling you what, you don't need to go to the Germany game. To be honest with you, Kansas City, they have a agreement with the soccer club there. But yeah, I mean it's but then and the reason that they're figuring some of this stuff out already, some of it the NFL's already saying, but like for the Madrid game, the Bears are the only team in the NFL with rights in the country for the game at PSG at Paris Saint-Germain. The Saints are the team with the rights in Paris. So that's how some of these people are coming up with who's going to be playing because so the NFL, what they do is say, okay, in this city, you have Green Bay, Rio de Janeiro is your city. You have the advertising rights, whatever rights they assign, right, for that area. So the NFL has broken up the world and given certain teams the rights to push their team in that area. That's how they're coming up with that. So like in Paris, it's the Saints, and I guess the Bears have that in Madrid. But even when I was in Munich, I only saw 4 teams in Munich they were selling stuff for, right? It was the Bears, the Colts, the Chiefs, and the Pats. So go figure that one. But yeah, it's the merchandising rights is what it is for that area. I think is what it is. They break up. So it's interesting, but dude, you got 9 games international next year. And a 32 league team, 18 teams are playing internationally. You've got pretty good odds. Good morning, Cam. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this international breakout next year. And the NFC for the most part's hosting because most of the NFC teams have that bonus game is that ninth home game. That's the way that works, right? But I mean, we're going to get to the point where you're probably traveling every other year overseas now. So if you did not have an overseas game last year, hello Green Bay, hello Chicago, hello Detroit, odds are you're going overseas this year.
Well, give me like a 10-year drought. I'd be happy with that.
It used to be like that when there was only 1 game a year, but now you got 9 games a year. I mean, dude, like, is Mexico City a big one though? I mean, think about it. It's Mexico City. I mean, is that really?
Yeah, yes and no. It's not bad for the travel, but it's bad for having to hire your own paramilitary group.
Yeah, the security aspect of it. Well, even the cartels aren't stupid enough to try to do something with that game. But I mean,
you hope so.
You hope so. But I mean, like, dude, going to Australia, dude, that's a haul.
That's a long flight.
Yeah, that's worse than going to Rio. They're going to Brazil. I mean, the European games, if you're an East Coast team, that's a 5-6 hour flight, whatever. It's like same flight as going to LA. But I mean,
but if you're the Rams, that's a 20-hour flight, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think they're going to Australia.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you're the Rams to Australia is like probably an 18-hour flight because it's 15 to the Philippines.
Could you imagine if you're Green Bay having to go there?
That's a whole day.
Yeah, that's why I'm not too big of a fan of the international games for my team. For
the
other teams, it's awesome because, you get the early morning football. That's great. But for my team, I don't want them over there.
Well, the European games aren't so bad. I think NFL teams have adjusted kind of to that a little bit. But, dude, Australia? That's a massive – I mean, Jesus. Like Joe said, from LA, it's a 20-hour flight.
Some of the fields, too, like some of the players been complaining about it, like, because, they're adjusted for soccer, football, but not so much as – playing American football on it.
That's a pussy argument. I'm sorry. That's a pussy argument.
Well, you know how these players are coddled.
Yeah, because you know what? Go to Atlanta, that field there. You go to Atlanta, guess what? That's an MLS stadium. That field is cut the same way for soccer as it is everywhere else. And Atlanta plays there, no problem. I mean,
my counter argument is if you can play in the Meadowlands, you can play
Soldier Field.
Yeah, Soldier Field.
You can play anywhere.
You can play Soldier Field. You can play anywhere.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, if you look at like the field in Real Madrid, I mean, if they want to bitch about the field there, yeah, you're a bunch of crybabies, man. Because that field, dude, like these dudes, like they take their field like. If you think the Dolphins are like mad scientists with their fields, like, right? Like, you know how the Dolphins like replace their field like every 3 games and they literally have grass farms for the Dolphins, right? The Dolphins own grass farms and they're probably the most meticulous team in the league with their field.
Well, they want to make sure the carpet looks good in the rape cave, man.
Yeah, but like in Madrid, I mean, like, dude, these international soccer teams, like, dude, I'll tell you, like, when I went to Munich and I went to the stadium, and if you even got close to the field, security was all over you. Like if you got 2 inches from even looking, it's like, hey, step back. I mean, they pamper their fields. Like, it's just like everyone goes, like Packer fans go back to the Rio games. Like, dude, that's because the equipment managers didn't realize they were playing in the Brazilian winter. And that during the day when it was one thing, and at night when the temperature dropped and dew hit the field, it was going to be slick. And they didn't bring the right cleats. They figured it was going to be nice and dry and not slick. And well, guess what? It wasn't. that was more about the equipment managers screwing the pooch than it was about the field being bad. Because the soccer players like, dude, the field's perfectly fine. You just didn't bring the right cleats.
You just lick your finger and just point it to the sky and make sure.
Yeah, I mean, the field, like
So-
I guarantee. I mean, dude, if they can play the World Cup on these fields.
So is the Dolphins stadium now going to be the rape cave?
I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
The Bills are heading to the rape cave this week.
We haven't had one of those. in a
Man,
while.
that'd be a hell of a sight. A dolphin and a buffalo.
Sponsored by Jim Bob.
Jim Bob's Cars.
I mean, so everyone's going to get an international game. I think the international stadium, like we've been playing at Azteca Stadium for years in Mexico City. No one's ever bitched about that field. And that's a soccer stadium. In fact, one of the most famous soccer stadiums in the world. So, I mean,
Hey Ken, your NFL Europe theory is coming to fruition.
No, don't you tell him that, damn it.
no, but I mean, I
Actually,
think
if you were going to bitch about anything in Mexico City, it should be the altitude because it's 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, I
It's
remember-
worse than playing in Denver, dude.
not
Yeah,
much
I
worse
remember
than
they
that.
played an NBA game there, and they forgot to turn on the air conditioners in there. So like it was full blast. They were all the players were sweating before halftime. It was horrible conditions for them.
I mean, though, think about 8 games, man. I mean, the NFL, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying yesterday. The NFL is so smart in marketing and how to make, dude, because these international games, you know why we're seeing so many of them? Because they make gobs of fucking money. Like that game in Paris is going to be mob. They're going to make so much money. I mean, the stadium's a stadium. It's only going to put 80, 90, 100,000 people in it. That's it. Right? And I mean, that's a lot of people, but still, that's it. They fill these stadiums with 60, 70,000, whatever. The ticket sales are the ticket sales. They're probably, the price is actually probably better over there than it is here for fans to go to the game. But they sell so much merch in these games. Like, because they tailor it, man. They know the market. They do like the game scarves like they do in European football. They do the hats, they do the flags, they do the jerseys, they do the sweatshirts, the t-shirts, the special I was at the game t-shirts, blah blah blah. Then the take for dude, if you think we drink beer, okay. I mean the take they get concessions and they're making money hand over fist with these games. Think about it. You have one game in all of Spain. You have one game in France. It's a big thing for the whole nation, not just the city. So they make gobs of money with these things. And even Munich still packs out every year. London packs out both games every year. It's a big spectacle to do that almost rivals the Super Bowl in terms of how much money they make for the actual game itself. Maybe not the advertising and the TV side, but the physicality of it, because they do the whole NFL experience for the week. They do all kinds of special events with the flag football thing and everything else. I mean, they know it. And so, Isaac, it goes back to my theory from that we've been going for, 2-3 years now, how the NFL is looking to expand Europe. I mean, we're getting 8 games next year. Want to bet that in 27 we get 9 or 10?
Yeah, but I think it's still far away from us having a team, created
5
internationally.
10 years,
and-
maybe. I mean, what was interesting, though, they did drop Ireland off the list this year.
Mhm.
They're not going back to Ireland. I mean, I have a feeling, though, Ireland will get a game next year. When they go from 8 to 9, then they just add Ireland back. 'Cause this year they're adding Mexico back, which hasn't had a game in a while. And that's probably why Ireland lost its game. But I would almost bet you're going to get to a point where you're getting 16 games a year. So every team is going to get at least one overseas game a year. It's coming. It's coming. It may take 5 years, and you may actually get within that time period as you get closer to that, where you get a team that's permanently based in London.
I would think. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could, but you'd have to create another expansion team to just have a whole European division, 4 teams. Like have one in Ireland, one in England, one in France, and one in Germany or in Spain, like Madrid, Paris, London, and Dublin.
You really could. I mean, we're almost at that point. You could have a European division, a European. I mean, you have to do you'd have to do an 8-team expansion, really, if you think about it. If you want to
Mhm.
keep it equal, right? And you'd have an AFC division and an NFC division, each outside of the continental United States. So maybe you do actually. There's a lot of logistics. So 'cause now you're talking, it's got playoff implications because now you go from, 4-4 to 5-5, right? So I don't know how you do it.
Or how about this? Is go with Joe's idea, create, these 4 different countries, football teams, have them have their own kind of almost their own league, like
Right.
have them play that many games. And then instead of the Pro Bowl, eliminate the Pro Bowl, have the best of their team play our team, instead of the Pro Bowl,
So yeah,
I think
but I mean, but you can't really do that because you have to wait for the Super Bowl to be done. You'd be the Super Bowl champion against the European champion.
Mhm.
That's probably something that goes. You're talking 30 years down the road, right?
Yeah,
In order
yeah. I
to do that.
mean,
But I
obviously
mean,
none of this is gonna happen
if you
soon.
do, right now look at so let's look at the European cities, right? You've got
Mhm.
London gets games. Munich is going to become the city now in Germany. Barcelona, now Paris. There's 4. Then you've got, and actually in England you got 2 different stadiums that are getting games. So you got the other England stadium, Ireland, the other Germany stadium, whichever that's going to be. You only got and then maybe you find one more. You could put 8 teams in Europe. You could. But that would, in a way, you could do your own league with that too, right? Because think about it, you could do almost a full schedule. I mean, you've got 6 games within your division, and then the 4 other. So you're playing. That's 10. Oh, if you do home and home for all of that's a 12-game season right there. But you're playing everyone twice, right? I don't know what their playoffs or their championship looks like. It might be too small to do a league, but it's something you could start from. An 8 to 12 game season with a championship. I mean, isn't that what the UFL kind of has right now, anyways?
To remind you guys, there was an NFL Europe. They just got canned because it just
Well, yeah,
didn't
because
take
that's the other
off.
piece. That's the thing. Like
Yeah,
doing it's an NFL Europe Part 2, you'd have the
yeah,
same problem, right? You're not getting the
hmm
players.
Well,
I think
yeah.
football's a little more popular now
actually,
over in
so
Europe.
actually, you could. There's a pretty simple way to solve it. If you were to create 8 teams over there, 2 divisions, an AFC and an NFC division, then you would just expand the playoffs to 16 teams instead of 14. The top 5, because you have 5 divisions.
Right,
You
right.
have 5 division winners and 3 wild cards, and then you just run it like that. Like you wouldn't have to do too much to the playoff system or anything. Instead of 4 division winners, you have 5. And then you
Dude,
have
could
3
you
wild
imagine
cards.
playing the NFC or AFC championship game in London or Paris? I mean,
Yeah,
but I think that'd be, Joe, you're on track with something there because if you did NFL Europe, the problem is the quality of players is going to go down because all the best players are going to play in the NFL, and then there's going to be what happened last time. And you get the cast-offs, you didn't get drafted, and they don't want that because that's going to kill everything. They're showing fans in Europe NFL quality football. And so now if you're worried of your own league, but you're not going to have NFL quality football, it's basically be the rejects that couldn't get into the NFL. The same, it's like you're gonna do the same thing you did last time that didn't work and expect it to work. And now you've done all this buildup to kill it. No, the only way to keep it going is to have Max Crosby play games in Europe, to have Patrick Mahomes going to Europe, to having
Or
Caleb Williams and
yeah,
Jordan Love going to Europe. That's the only way it
Mhm.
works. It doesn't work when you get the quarterback from Tulane who was an undrafted free agent rookie is a starting quarterback for London. It doesn't work.
or you could have players, right, that didn't really make it on some of the teams, NFL ready players or NFL players that can't make a team right now play in Europe instead. You
That's
know
what
what
they
I
did
mean? Like,
before.
But it's
That's
the
yeah,
what they
same
did
thing. Yeah,
before.
it's
Same
basically
thing.
turning it into a developmental league, which is what
Yeah,
NFL
and that
Europe
didn't
was.
work.
You
That
just
yeah.
have
didn't
to
work.
add the teams, and then they get to draft just like everyone else. The problem
Yep.
is that you would have to have a giant expansion draft to fill out those 8 teams. Like
Yeah.
that would be the problem. Is like a lot of teams would lose some of their best players.
I mean, if you added 8 teams, I mean, actually,
Expansion draft, you got to give up at least one good player.
You don't have to go that full blown route though. You could add 2 teams to start, one in the AFC East, one in the NFC East, and the reason you go with that division is because they're the East Coast. They have the shortest flight times, right? Because you don't add a team in London to the NFC West. That's an 11-hour flight to London. You don't do that. You do though if you add to the East. Now you're talking. They're playing the Giants, the Redskins. East Coast teams, they have like a 5-6 hour flight from London, from Philly to London's a 5-hour flight. From Philly to Munich is 6. That's a doable flight. That's no worse than them going to LA. Flight time wise, time difference wise, is a different story, right? But I mean, that's the easiest travel. So you could start off with one team in the AFC East, one team in the NFC East. Then you add a second team, and now maybe you go to the North. Once again, easiest flight times. Now you've got 4 European teams. You're almost there. And then maybe 2 or 3 years later, you add 2 more teams, and maybe you add them to the South, right? And then when you're ready for 2 more teams, then you have 2 divisions, and you pull those teams out of the conference divisions they're in and create 2 new European divisions. So you could you'd have to do what Joe's saying, but you'd have to do it over, because you're right, the supplemental draft would be just ridiculous. If you added 8 teams, I mean, how many players would everyone have to give up? 5, 6,
You could
10?
you could poach rugby players.
Yeah, but you could also, I mean, even if every team gave up 5 players out of a 53-man roster, they could replace that in a draft. I mean, they wouldn't be able to replace the quality, but they would be able to replace the quantity of players.
You got 8 teams you need.
I mean, look how the NHL does it when they have an expansion team. You know what I mean? They a lot of these expansion teams get to poach like several players from different teams, and
Yeah. I mean, the NFL has done the same thing. There's precedents, but like to do 8 teams at once, which might be a bridge too far. But you could do like 2 this year. Let's say you do 2, and then you wait 2 years and do 2 more. Wait 2 years, do 2 more. Wait 2 years, and then make it its own division. I mean, you could do it all within a decade. You could add 8 teams within a decade. That'd be pretty damn aggressive, to be honest with you. But I mean, if you did 8 teams at once, which would be freaking insane. Let's say you give up 5 players per, and then of course they can get in the free agency, and then of course now they're going to be in the draft.
The only thing I see that is
hard. Think about it. In a draft scenario like that, Luther Burden the third would have been a first-round pick this year.
The only thing I see that's difficult, like kind of like the cons of it, is visas is one, and then number 2 is if anybody has like a court conviction, because a lot of NFL players have something going on with courts. Yeah, you can't.
I think that's easy. That's already been done. That the whole visa argument, the court, they have a court conviction. That's a non-factor. I hate that. I'm not trying to shoot you down, but it's a non-factor because they already do it in Europe with soccer players. Like this is not NFL fans think like this is, oh my God, what about the dude? International soccer players, they do it all the time. Like these guys that play for these soccer clubs, like you play for Bayern Munich, but you play in the Champions League. Guess what? Now you're playing in England. Now you're playing in Paraguay. Now you're playing. They travel to all these different countries to play all the time. And there are U.S. born players that play in these leagues as well. So, I mean, that's the easy part. The visa and the NFL's already got that unlocked. Look at it now. I mean, how many players have not gone to an NFL Europe game now because of a conviction or something? No, they all get their visa to go play the game.
I don't know. I mean, depends on your conviction.
No, I mean, they
ain't letting you out of the United States if you did some crazy shit.
they've already proven that it's already been proven that that's a non-factor, though. It's a non-factor.
The other thing they could do, and this is just again me spitballing, is you could create the 4 teams, create an NFL Europe division, and you could just have them alternate conference each year. Like this year they compete against the NFC. Next year they compete against the AFC. Like that way it balances out as far as
how's that work for the playoffs though? If they're a
See, that's
floating division,
yeah, that's the thing is it would create playoff complications, which is why I said the only real way if you're going to do an expansion is you'd have to do 8 teams, and you'd have to so each division or each conference gets a division, and then you don't have to really do anything except expand your playoffs.
I guess you could go if you really wanted to go aggressive. You could do 4 at a pop, and do one team. One team per the NFC, AFC East, NFC, AFC South might be right. Add 4 teams that way 1 year, then wait 3 or 4 years and add 4 more teams while creating the division at the same time. I mean, but they probably have this all war gamed out. Like we're war gaming it now. Guarantee you the NFL's war game this shit out for their expansion plans, whatever it may be. And who knows, it may be a pop-up league like before, like I was saying with guys like almost developmental, but I think that kind of kills what they're building because they're building the NFL on the backbone of their star players. And then you're saying, now we're going to give your own team, but you're never going to see these star players. I think that kind of defeats the purpose of what they're doing. They're trying to build the brand, but I think that sets the brand back. They have to include them into the NFL somehow. And so how do you do that without creating player drain, which is a valid argument? How do you not water down the league too much? Was it Ken or Joe? One of you guys said, hey, but there are more players coming out of Europe now, which is going to make it better than what it was before. Because now you're going to get more European blood in the league, as we're already starting to see, right? Like there are a bunch of Australians in the league. Why do you think Australia is getting a game? Right? I mean,
imagine in the future you're facing the India Sikhs or the Japanese samurais.
I was gonna say that'd be pretty interesting,
bro.
I think the way the NFL
their whole line is sumo wrestlers.
That's my point of why it'd be interesting.
Think about the way the NFL's built it up. We got 8 games this year. Eventually, we'll get to a point where we're getting 9 to 10 games a year, probably over the next 2 or 3 years. And I think everything with them, it's been gradual. So now they've gotten you're almost going every other year. You're going to Europe. That's just it now in the NFL. And so okay, now that you're used to this, now we're going to drop a team in London and we're going to drop a team in Munich. And guess what? They're still going to play in these other cities. I mean, I think the NFL is doing a gradual build up in the first, and when they finally get to a certain threshold, they'll drop 1 or 2 teams in Europe, and they'll drop them in probably the East, because that just makes the most logistical sense. And they'll just start building that way. And 20 years from now, you could have an NFL Europe division. You could have an NFC Europe and an AFC Europe.
Yeah. Or, I mean, if it's not out of the realm, is after the Super Bowl is played, you play the European champion team. You know what I mean? So, you kind of get a dual trophy in that sense.
I think that's something that's even further down the pipe. I think you have to get to a point where you have 8 teams isn't enough, right? I think you get to a point though where you have two 32 league teams, and then you've got something. Now you're cooking with butter, right? Because you could have the NFL champ against the European champ, kind of like a World Cup scenario.
Yeah,
right. I see what you're saying, but I think you'd have to have at least 4 European divisions in order to do that.
Yeah, it would have to expand
100 years away, dude.
Oh yeah. But could you imagine you're a free agent wide receiver and you're in free agency and you're mulling over, do I go to Munich? Do I go to Barcelona? Do I go to London? Or do I go to Vegas? Or do I go to San Francisco?
Or you just got drafted by the Pakistan jihadis.
I mean, well, that's it. Could you imagine being in a draft and you get drafted by the London Monarchs or whatever they're going to be called, right? Could you imagine if you get drafted by a European team?
Watch after the Super Bowl, you have that European Championship game. It's 52-0, the Americans.
And they're all going to be Americans because most of those guys are going to be Americans that are playing in those NFL teams over there. But dude, and you think about it, if you're the number 1 draft, if you're the number 1 draft pick for London, dude, your endorsement deals are going to be ridiculous. More ridiculous in London than they are in, say, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like it's. But that's, I mean, I think they're angling that way. I mean, look at, or the NFL could be like, dude, you guys are off your rockers. We're never going to put a team here. We're just going to keep playing with our existing 32 teams in Europe every year. We're going to get to a point where every week there's a European game.
I think I could see that more than the NFL
There's a
Europe.
whole expansion thing. Yeah,
I mean,
too.
eventually at some point, those fans in those other cities, like in London and Munich, at some point down the road, are going to start to want their own team. If they don't already.
Mhm.
And there's always a
you might as well take the
scenario.
free money.
Well, there's also a scenario, and it's not going to happen with Jacksonville. Now, a lot of people thought it was going to be Jacksonville for years and years and years. But now that they're getting a new stadium, it's not going to happen. There's also a scenario where an NFL team relocates to a place like London because they can get a sweetheart deal.
I think we won't see any of this come to fruition until I'm 70.
I don't know. I mean, look, stranger things have happened. I mean, but I think right now the plan is, look, we're going to get a game a week in Europe. And at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, probably, these European cities are going to want a team of their own. And
might be
back to London,
It might be in 20 years, robots are facing each other. Yeah, and it's like
no one will watch that. That's
robot ball.
the London Packers. That's a good ring to it, Cam.
Yeah, no, that's the one team that'll never go over there.
Yeah.
But I mean,
just for fish and chips.
It's just interesting that we're going as many games, 9 international games this year. 18 teams of the 32 are playing overseas. And next year, maybe we go to 10. So, I mean, you're almost at every other year, you're guaranteed. I mean, right now, think about it. 32 teams, 18 teams are playing overseas this year. You're every other year, you're going overseas now, without a doubt. Some teams are going, like Jaguars go every year, so they don't count. But, I mean, the logistics, though, Barry, dude, they've got that shit locked now. The NFL's been doing this long enough. They got the logistics locked. I mean, dude, we've been doing these international games now for what? Almost a decade? Like this? They've got the logistics on lock.
Mm-hmm. It's just
when they
like,
go to Paris, they already know what they're doing. Because, dude, they've linked in with PSG. That's their stadium. The NFL is already in talks with PSG or Real Madrid, and they've already got practice facilities for both teams and housing and all that's unlocked because they have partnerships with the international football community, the soccer community. So, like, they're talking to La Liga, they're talking to Bundesliga, they're talking to Serie A, they're talking to, when they go to Italy, which is going to happen probably, they're talking to Premier League. Like, they consult Air Force Mobility Command, right? I mean, dude, they've got it on lock. They know what they're doing.
It's just the fatigue, you know what I mean? Like just being on flights, and I mean, I know your argument, Ken, is soccer players do all the time, but soccer's not football. Football is going through a car
soccer's
crash.
Much more physically demanding in some way.
Yeah, I mean,
cardio.
You're going through a car crash.
Yeah.
You're going through a car crash almost every single snap.
I know. Yeah, the physicality.
Yeah.
Well, soccer can be pretty physical too. But I mean,
not in football sense though.
They're still high. They're all still high end athletes that have to deal with it. Yeah, soccer players deal with it more than NFL players do. So maybe NFL players need to be less pampered with that. I don't know. But I mean, travel wise, it's not the travel itself, not the 6-hour flight from Philly to London. It's the time difference that they got. That's the problem. It's the time. But I mean, look at a day or two, and you're getting most of these teams have that down on lock too, like getting the time difference down and the strategies they use to travel to these games.
Yeah. It's just soccer. You're not getting hit by a guy named Myles Garrett. They're
getting hit though, and it's a cardio. And dude, soccer players will play 2 or 3 games a week. NFL players don't. So they'll play a game. They'll play a game in Madrid, then they'll fly and play a game in London, then they'll fly and play a friendly in the U.S., and they'll fly home and play a game. But anywho, we're out of time today. JB's up next. I'm sure there's some Lions news he has. Make sure you join him. Be back here tomorrow for another edition of Ken and Ken. Everyone have a great Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Have a great Tuesday, everyone.